I'm going to be using some translucent clay today, some ink, and some white clay. So let's get going. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you this ring. My mom picked it up at an auction. It's just sterling silver, but I liked the little flecks of colors in there and stuff. I don't know. It looks really interesting and kind of weird. Let me know what you think. I'm not going to be using a whole lot of translucent clay. I actually am just going to make probably enough for a pea-sized ball. It's a really simple project and you really don't need a lot of clay at all. These are the colors I'm going to use. I wanted an orange color and carrot was the closest thing I had to it. It wasn't the orange I was looking for, but I thought it would work. It was the only thing closest to that. I'm going to use some cherry for red, some limon for yellow, sky for blue, and a little turf for green. Just putting a little bit on there. You can really make your colors as rich as you want them to be. I was kind of trying to go for a little bit of a lighter color, so I only put a little bit on each. And these are all of the colors I have, and then I wanted them all the same size. So these are all the little pieces that I had to pinch off to get them all the same size. And I thought it would be kind of fun just to mix them up and see what colors I came up with. So I mixed the yellow and red orange color. And then I had a little bit of the green left, so I was like, I'm going to mix a little bit of that with the orange, and I should have known it was going to come out muddy. And it does come out pretty muddy looking. It looks like a muddy creek. Anyway, so I have all these rolled out into balls, and then I'm going to just kind of roll them out into little snakes. These are probably an inch long, maybe. Super thin. You don't want them to be, I guess, too thin, but you want them to be, a little bit thinner so that they can get stuck beside each other and then roll out. And so when you put this on your final piece of clay, you have the entire rainbow color in there, if you will. So I'm just kind of flattening them all and trying to make the edges nice and straight just with the edge of my blade. And then I'm going to stick them together and kind of just barely connect them. I am going to roll this and everything so it'll all stick together in the end. These are my little colors I have together. Just again flattening it. Just trying to get it as flat as possible before I start running it through the pasta machine. Now I don't want to do like a Skinner blend where, the colors mix together and become another color. Wasn't really trying to go for that. I was trying to keep the rainbow color pretty defined, I guess, the sections of colors. Running it through the pasta machine, you are going to lose and kind of get the lines a little bit blurred. So you got to keep that in mind. If you want to, you can make this, just roll it out by hand, I guess, and, make it super thin, but just take your time doing it and you'll get the ribboned look instead of the faded into the colors look. So I ran this through my pasta machine on the thickest setting a few times. And then this is what I came out with. Of course, you can do it as many times as you want. The red and the orange do kind of blend together a little too much, but it actually looks okay in the end. I do want it to be really thin, as thin as I can get it. So I ran it to a 6 on my pasta machine, and then I was afraid to go anymore. I rolled out some white clay, and I rolled it out to the thickest setting, and then I folded it over on itself and then just rolled it once to get everything to stick together. Then I cut it down to the size of this, just trimming away all the excess pieces. And now I'm going to put my rainbow clay on top. I had to put it on a piece of paper because I laid it down somewhere and it started to stick pretty bad. So you might want to put it on a piece of paper. That way you can kind of just toss it over into your hand and then put it on your clay. And you can kind of stretch it out as much as you need to by hand if it's not like as big as you want it to be. But this is going to get rolled a little bit more, so it is going to expand and become a little bit larger. So I wasn't too concerned about it at this point. Just giving it a very gentle roll just to get everything stuck together and get out any air bubbles. If you put it down carefully enough, you won't get any. But sometimes it happens because that's what happens. This is a stencil that I've chosen. I just liked the pattern. You can choose any pattern you want, anything that you think is going to look good. And I kind of wanted mine to be a little bit off-centered. I really liked this spiral look, so I put it off-center, put it on my clay, and then I'm just going to roll it gently. And you want the clay to start popping up through those plastic slats in the stencil, and that way you can shave it off. So just keep going until you have a nice connection. It actually worked out really, really well. And then you're just going to start shaving off. I'm doing it very lightly at first. I'm trying not to like gouge down into the clay, just taking off little sections. And you can either do it one of two ways. You can do it like it is here, where it's like faded out and like a little white in the middle, or you can just completely go down to the plastic and only see white. Either way you want to do it. I kind of liked this way of the faded look. I don't know. I thought the less sharp lines, the better, because it looks intentional this way. So I was just going to kind of show you how I was doing it. When I first put my blade down on to the clay, I'm not taking that very teeny bit at the top. And then I'm slowly digging in and then pulling back up, kind of like you're scooping like something out of a bowl. You don't want to go too deep on the sides. You want to go deep in the middle and then come back up shallow on the sides. If you're afraid to go too deep, you can always do very light swipes like I was doing there and just keep going back over until you've removed as much of the clay as you want to. So you really can kind of experiment and play with it. If for some reason it didn't make a good connection, you don't have enough clay to scrape off, just give it a gentle roll and then you can kind of start scraping it again. But just really work with it and play with it and see what you like. And then I would just kind of dust off any little bits that might be stuck on there. It came off pretty easily. And then the satisfying part of peeling off the stencil. And then I really liked the raised edges. So if you don't like that, you can always just kind of burnish it away with a piece of paper. But I really like it. You can't really tell after it's baked and then the resin's on top. So, I mean, it's not like a huge deal, but if, you know, that's kind of the look you're going for. I'm cutting out my shape. I'm using a heart cutter made out of paper, and then I'm putting it on the back of a spoon just to kind of give it a little pop. I really like doing that to my pieces, so they're not just like flat pieces. These are the scraps that I had left, and I thought, you know what, I'll just kind of smoosh it back together like a Pac-Man mouth and close it up. And then just use my fingers and kind of rub it and just get it all connected. And that's the paper cutter I was using. Just wanted to show you. And then just, I'm going to cut out 2 earring shapes with this like diamond kind of a shape. These are the scraps of the scraps. And just all the little bits and bobs we have left. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to put it all together. I'm going to run it through the pasta machine, see what I like, see if I want to just cut out a shape like this. Something cut out of this would be really pretty. I like that kind of ripped look that it has. And then these are all the little pieces that I shaved off. So I was like, you know what, I got to use all those too. So no, let me put those on top of the clay, and then I ran it back through the pasta machine. Right now it looks a big old mess, but it's kind of Picasso-y, so maybe you want to cut something out and make something out of that. Not my thing, but maybe it's yours. So run it through as many times as you want, and then you can get that crackled, kind of a ripped look. And then you can cut out your shapes. I'm just going to use my mold to make a shape. It's just the easiest thing to do, and that way I can use up pretty much all of the clay. I thought I was going to have enough to fill up the center, but I didn't. So what I did was I folded over all the clay that I had, and then it's kind of lumpy and bumpy in there, so I'm going to make it smoothed out in there. So the back isn't going to be completely flat. It's going to curve in, and I really liked that idea. So I just kind of went with it, and I used up all the clay, so that was the point. And then this is my piece I cut out, and I finally figured out why I always get these little specks on my clay, and it's because I used the paper cutters over and over and over and over and over and over again, and they have ink on them, so I'm gonna have to make brand new paper cutters, and I won't have to worry about that again. But I'm kind of disappointed that it made little flecks on there. The same with this, but I can always redo this idea. It was pretty simple and straightforward, so I'll probably make this again and then have some pretty pieces. And this is that piece of the scrap. I really like it. It's kind of looks like a stone in a way. And then that's the back. It's all smooth and carved out, and I don't know. I like the way it came together. Let me know which piece you like the best. Please don't forget to hit subscribe and like, and check out my second channel, Frugally Delicious. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Bye!